The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, hello and good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, February 1st, 2024. That's Black History Month, by the way. Welcome to the only show about Spartan Dawgs, hosted by Spartan Dawgs. This is Sparta MSU. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, the boss. He says it right there, Otis Wiley. And look, Chew, we don't know where Chew's at. You know, he's supposed to be here, but we can't find him. We'll take it up with him next Tuesday when he returns, hopefully in one piece. However, if this is your first time listening to the show, we want to welcome you to the show. If this is not, we absolutely thank you for your loyalty. And look, don't forget to go into that chat on YouTube here. We're live and in color. And we want to know where you're watching from. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social media handles at This is Sparta MSU. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. Let us know where you're watching from. What's going on? Otis, my man.
Yeah.
You were at the game this past Tuesday. And, you know, as we left the show, we were ready to go watch the game. It was streaming on Peacock. And, look, you were in that environment. Izzo did do what he needed to do on his birthday and got that 700th win.
Absolutely. I think, you know, I wish – sometimes I'm in the moment too much, but like I should have took out my phone and did some recording. But you know, that first half, you know, we struggled a bit. And you know, you see this where you know, coach addressed the group or the arena after he did his little radio TV interview post game, and you see the players behind him. You saw the greats of Mateen and Steve Smith, and you saw how you had Big Dre. You had a lot of people. You had Antonio Smith there. I haven't seen Antonio in the
wow.
You know, Paul Davis just throwing out some, you know, greats. But, you know, we played a little. It took us a while to get going on the first half. You know, shots weren't falling as it should, as it used to. Like, usually we're clicking on all cylinders. But that second half, you saw what we always expect to see is that number 14 preseason ranked, and we have a squad. You know, I know we got Jaden Akins was a beast the entire game. Like it was what we expected of him to be the shooter for this squad. And so he finally, I don't know, I can't say this was his breakout coming out because we've seen him do this time and time again last season, but I feel like he found his rhythm clearly. And it was smooth. Like you saw the confidence. You saw that. You see this rivalry. I think there was a difference between he grew up in this state and he grew up rivalry, and you saw a different elevation than the others, which they obviously played in it before. But Jaden Akins was, I mean, you couldn't stop him, and that's where if we keep that playing the second half consistently for the rest of the season into the postseason, we'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Without question. I mean, you brought up Jaden Akins. It was a career high. You know, you didn't want to call it a breakout game. I think it was a career high, 23 points, 7 of 10 from three-point range. And look, he didn't do it all on his own. He had A.J. Hoggard too. Let's not forget the point guard, man. I mean, look, he did 15 points, 7 assists, along with Tyson Walker, who had 12 and 4. But A.J. becomes the 7th MSU player to record 1,000 points and 500 assists. That's an incredible feat.
It is. You consider, like, you know, when Izzo has guards that kind of are built like running backs. You know, they're really sturdy and like just strong when they're driving to the hoop. He is the nucleus. He is the leader of the squad, and when he's finding guys, you know, in transition. You know, he gets on them too. Like, you know, he throws the ball with Carson Cooper. I feel real bad. It's almost like if anybody remembers when Peyton Manning and Blair White was in Indianapolis Colts, and like I remember it was a route where Peyton was getting on Blair. It's kind of like that, where every time he throws to the bigs, it's frustrating because the bigs, they catch it, it's an assist. And I don't know if he's mad because they're not completing the assist, but more so like we need to catch the ball and put it in the hoop. Like if we have big man to convert, we'll be good. But this was a good atmosphere, good to win your 700th game against a rivalry. Like you can't draw that up. But I love what he said in his post press conference. We're consistently inconsistent and focusing on that, right? Like, yeah, we won, but we're focused on being consistent because we got to go long in the NCAA tournament.
One other thing he did say too is we ain't dead yet. I like that, and looking at some highlights from the game here as we're seeing them in slow motion, because there was a lot of good things to see. And you see Tom here, Coach Izzo, working the referees as he loves to do, which is needed. Cohen Carr, man, he had one heck of a block on a dunk attempt. I don't know if we can bring that up for everybody to see, but that was incredible. Here we go here.
I mean, look where he started from. Oh, man. And the force of the block knocks the offensive player on his back. Like,
I mean, he couldn't even get the cock. He was trying to cock it, and it was over.
Absolutely. Play that again, Tony, because if you look at where he started from to where the offensive player catches the ball, like, I don't even think he would have completed the dunk if he was open, because it looked like he didn't even get up anyway. But great win. I think it was a collective unit. I like to see, Booker getting a little rotation, getting his confidence, because, as a freshman, I can only imagine on the gridiron, on the court, it's a different beast when you like football, I feel like, right? So there's a lot of things moving around, but like if you can get your mojo, get your confidence, we got a good future ahead of us next season, but this is where I think we can do some damage in the postseason.
Without a doubt. I mean, everybody's very anxious and looking forward to seeing Michigan State basketball to get on that run and do what they do, especially in February. This is that time to gain ground after a kind of a slow start, a little bumpy road. But if anybody can do it, Tom Izzo can do it. He said it, like I just mentioned before, we ain't dead yet. It's a long way to go in this before the selection Sunday, I think it is, happens after the Big Ten tournament. So, look, we're looking forward to seeing Michigan State basketball here week in and week out. It's going to be big going on. A lot of things going on this weekend, which we're going to get to. But first, the Michigan State football spring showcase has been announced, which is the spring game for all intents and purposes. It's going to be on April 20th, 2024.
Yeah, one, I love this graphic. And two, I got to get a shout out to Michigan Student Aid of being the presenting sponsor of the spring showcase. I'm interested to see, like, they're doing work, right? So It's very quiet. You don't hear a lot of noise. I mean, I don't hear it. I don't think you hear it. It's focused on the work, putting the body of work together to get back to where the program is back to its, prestige and respect it. And I think that's where they're focusing on that. Like Coach Smith is I haven't had a chance to meet him, but from what I hear and what I, see, with the players, it's business, it's process. We got to go ahead and turn this tide. And this is our opportunity in the winter conditioning and preparing for spring showcase, spring football. We got work to do. And that's what he's putting his head down. And these guys are as well.
Look, spring showcase, that's a big deal. That's when you bring a lot of recruits up for that. I mean, it's going to be a chance for our Michigan State fans, Spartan Nation, to get out and see the team and kind of see the players of what they've been working on with this new coaching staff. Along the way, before you get to the spring showcase or the spring game, and you're going to have spring practice. Here's a spring practice schedule, if we can bring that up right now. Starts on March 19th. And, obviously culminates on April 20th. But there's your schedule. And, look, I know there's a lot of former players. Spartan Dawgs are going to come out and check out the game, the practices. because we know what spring practice means in football. That's where all the development is, a lot of hitting. And, when the new staff takes over, ooh, baby, that's when competition is at its highest, right? Because everybody's jockeying.
You're my brother.
Yeah.
So you're not my friend when we in spring. Like, that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? We brothers.
Please cover that A gap, though.
You are not my kinfolk, my friend, when we hitting them between those lines in spring. Because, like, what I'm not trying to do is, one, lose my spot. Two, I got to put an impression that, I got to put a body of work. And also, you got to focus on being healthy, because in the spring, with a new staff, if you consistently, hurt, you kind of look at like, man, this is a repeat guy. He's consistently hurt. You got to take care of your body, because, it's the dog. Spring, this new coaching staff, spring ball season, it's just a heightened two-a-days, which I wish they still did, but they don't. But it's a fall camp. Like, it's that intense,
it's
right?
Over. No more torture for these young people. Let the young guys eat, okay? No more two-a-days. But you brought up how spring practice is. There's going to be a lot of activity, not outside of football, mostly in football. But the coaching staff, they're not doing a lot of pictures and crazy things, but they are putting a ton of offers out there. Trevor, I think he mentioned that just now in the chat, talked about how many offers are out there. 2025 recruiting busy, approximately 20 offensive linemen offered, 15 wide receivers, 7 tight ends, 7 QBs. Man, 27 defensive backs, linebackers, and 14 D linemen. And I think he's accurate, because every time I'm on Twitter, I see offer. There's a lot of offers out there.
So what was the what were the numbers of the packs is the question. Like,
no, not like that. Not quite like that.
Okay.
Much more selective,
but it's almost like, you're putting up more shots, and hopefully you get some going in, basically, or you're landing, right? So I get it. But I've never seen 27 DBs. Now, is it broken up? I'm assuming 25, 26 class. No,
this is just 25 class.
Just 25s.
Yeah.
Wow. So obviously a priority board probably is like, out of those 27 DBs, we know who we are wanting. But if they don't, we go to the next one.
Look, I haven't heard this directly from any coaches on the staff, but typically when you see this kind of activity, it's a new staff taking over. They want to cast a big net and let people know, hey, we're interested, but they want to see how it reciprocates. They also want to see how, be able to, they've evaluated some film, but they want to see how things shake out around, because these guys are comfortable on the West Coast, right? Coming from Washington, Oregon State. So you see a lot of West Coast offers, and then you see they want to win that 3-hour radius rather from East Lansing. They talk about, Coach Smith says, 3-hour drive from East Lansing and everything around there. They want to attack that. And, now they're starting to get on the East Coast. You're seeing some of those, the Pennsylvania offers. You're seeing Florida. You're seeing Texas with the new commit from the 2024 class. So there's a method to the madness, and you can't go too slow right now. That's one thing. You can't go slow, especially in the minds of young football players. If they think that if you're not calling me, then we're moving on, you don't like me, and they can almost take offense to it. Nothing like we grew up in, Otis. Not at all. So I think they're doing a heck of a job being able to keep up with the times.
Well, that's good. Look, I respect it. I'm a happy camper. From a former player, standpoint, like, this is it's familiar, because like Coach D took over. That was a dog season right there, where it was tough. It was like everyone knew this is business. Like, no one's walking around eggshells, but I mean, you want to make sure you are going to class, you're doing everything, because you're not trying to be that fat they trim off, right?
Right. You don't want to be that guy. Junior Day is coming up this weekend on Saturday, February 3rd. That is a huge day. That's when they're going to bring, I think over 100 athletes, 100 football players are on tap to be in East Lansing, checking out this new staff in person, live and in color, looking at the facilities. They're going to be all over campus. I'm sure they're going to do tours. They're going to be in the football building, the Tom Izzo football building, checking out those new digs. And then, I would imagine they're going to check out a basketball game too. All good, right? Maryland does play Michigan State at home here on that day. I think it's 5 o'clock, a 5:30 tip.
5:30. So
yeah,
it's gonna be live. It's gonna be
yeah,
live.
it's gonna be live. We're gonna have a lot of players in town, and you got guys. I don't know if we have any, guys like Avery Gach. There he is from Birmingham Groves, one of the best players in the state. Dante McClellan. There you go. And then Elijah Dotson. Look, that's 2025 class. And you go down into the 2026, you got Gregory Patrick. There's a legacy Spartan. And then you have Jack Janda, and then who we have here? Khalif Canty. Hey, and who's been getting a lot of traction. And these are national recruits that are coming, that are from Michigan, that are going to be in East Lansing. So Spartan Nation, show up if you're going to be at that game. If you're at that game and you see those guys, any players, you're going to be able to locate them because they're the big ones. Okay, they're going to be the big ones,
right? In
the stands somewhere in the zone, somewhere around or thereabouts. Show them love. That's how you do it. Show them love. Give them Izone. The Izone need to maybe chant some names. Look at this. Get a list and chant some names when you see them. And there's going to be a lot of players from out of state too.
Send out a social post and you tag the Izone. You tag them. See what they do. Like, here's the names you need to be on the look for. Be on the look for.
Be on the look, man. Look, speaking of being on the look, Otis, it's time, man. We have a partnership, a special guest that we're going to bring on the show, and we've had Tom Dieters on this show before. And this is the president of Charitable Gift America. And Spartan fans, look, this is a guy, who, when you talk about NIL collectives, he's got just 150 student athletes in Michigan State under contract, and they require a 5% give back. If you think about the impact, not only from a monetary standpoint, 5% of the money that goes to those 150 athletes goes back into the community, which is an incredible thing to me. And it's not only the money, it's also their time. And we have some of the best athletes in the nation that are representing This is Sparta, the collective at Charitable Gift America. And when you think about NIL these days, there's the QR code right here for you. NIL collectives are in the news for all sorts of reasons, some good, some not so good, but Charitable Gift America and Tom Dieters is definitely good. Spartan fans, this is your chance to take control of your NIL contributions. Direct them to Spartan athletic programs of your choice. The This is Sparta Fund, powered by Charitable Gift America, allows you to choose which sport that you want to support with your NIL donations. All donations to the fund are tax deductible. All CGA athletes donate 5% of their contract to the charitable organization of their choice. Your contribution makes a difference in Spartan teams and also makes a difference in the world. The This is Sparta NIL Fund is the home of Spartan fans looking to impact, their lives and their teams together. For our senior fans, those are at the ripe young age of 70 or above. Man, that should be me the way my real age is. Find out how our contributions can deliver Spartan Fund points at cgaamerica.org. That is cgaamerica.org. Tom Dieters joins This is Sparta MSU. This is Sparta MSU and This is Sparta Collective on one show. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man. Thanks for coming. And thanks for being
on our show.
It's ours. It's both of ours. It's like both of ours.
Yeah.
That's a Friday reference for some of y'all. I saw all those 420 posts in the chat, by the way. But Tom, man, so talk to us a little bit about Charitable Gift America. Like, how did that come about? And first of all, before we get into that, you are a Spartan.
Yep.
So tell us about that.
Well, it was a couple of years ago. I played baseball there at Michigan State and never outgrew it, So I still do all my Spartan fandom stuff, and it's just something you never outgrow. We were just one big family. And one thing I will say about Michigan State, and I watch it today, and you guys experienced it too. And I think MSU does it better than a lot of schools, where it doesn't really matter what sport you play. You're going to get to know the kids that are on other teams and other sports. And because you mix in a lot of different things together, and you realize very quickly, whether you're playing football, basketball, baseball, gymnastics, tennis, whatever it is, you learn real quickly, all these kids are putting in an awful lot of time. It doesn't matter what sport. There's a lot of effort and time put into whatever sport it is. And we're real happy to been able to support now 11 different teams at Michigan State.
11. Otis, that's a lot, man.
Tom, I guess we one, you started talk about where you started, because I know we had you on the show before, but like you started as a philanthropic fundraiser in estate giving. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually I started there in East Lansing at Michigan State. I worked in the plan giving office, and that's where I got my start. And then 5 years later, the University of Miami hired me and as their director of gift planning. And that's really where I learned the business, and then became a vice president at Nova Southeastern University for the whole advancement program. But I knew during those 18 years in higher ed that there's a better way, a more creative way to create these gift plans. And so in 2011, I created Charitable Gift America, a public charity, 501c3 organization. And we work with hundreds of organizations around the country, developing new revenue streams for them, primarily through life income plans, meaning charitable gift annuities, pooled income funds, donor advised funds, charitable remainder trusts, things like that. Jason mentioned earlier, for people that are probably over 70, we pay them an income. They'll give us money. We'll pay them, like if they're 75 years old, 1%. But they get to designate whatever charity they want. So when you're working at a school, if that person you're talking to doesn't have an interest in that school, you're not going to have a long conversation. But what we do, we're just the vessel that allows people to give to whoever they want. And quite frankly, I've taken that same model and applied it to NIL, because I only know about donor relations, and that's what I've done. And I know if I let people that are, let's face it, we're asking people to do something totally irrational, and that is give money away. So I'm going to listen to them. Where do you want the money to go? And we want to be specific about NIL. What sport do you want to support at Michigan State? And that's how we've grown. All right. In the fall of 22 is when we started. And I thought we were big stuff. We had 23 kids under contract. I thought it was amazing. Fast forward to now, like Jason said, this year, 150 in total. We're over 200 contracts that we've written just at Michigan State. Now we've also collected other schools that have funds with us, and we're pushing probably 400 different kids now that benefit from what we're doing. And if you think about that, we do require them, because we are a grant maker. Okay, we make grants to organizations all over the world, literally. They are required to give 5% of their contract away to a charity of their choice. So the ripple effect that we've created literally around the world isn't something I planned on back in 2011, believe me. But that's what we do, and we've just kind of pushed this into NIL, and we want these students to participate in philanthropy. And I didn't know how it would work, to be honest with you. But these kids, they love it. They've really enjoyed doing that part of this. And, that having the donor direct where they want the money to go is how we ended up with 11 different sports at Michigan State. We don't decide what team to support. We don't say, give us your money and we'll tell you later how we spent it. Okay, we don't do that. We raise the money, we listen to the donors. And even like right now, all the fundraising we're doing right now is for next fall of 24, and that academic year, because we don't write contracts unless we have the money in the bank. And that way the coaches can have a strategy. They can have a plan for building their roster and keeping their roster. but they know what they have to work with before the year ever starts. We think that's really important. And there's some teams in particular at Michigan State that have really taken advantage of that and have really elevated those programs.
So Tom, on that, there's always a debate, right? There's power when you look at NIL collectives and look, my kids are getting recruited by a lot of people around the country, and you see these collectives and there's all sorts, and typically you see a lot of billionaires that are in these collectives. Basically, it's like a small group of guys writing, and women, whatever, writing checks, and they go out and they're just kind of playing whatever Monopoly with the teams. And then for you versus do you think that is the model, or does the critical mass of the average fan being able to donate whatever level, does that benefit more in your opinion? How do you think that works?
Well, I think both are critical. Okay, we have very wealthy people that support our fund. Okay, and we couldn't do some of the things we do without them. Mm-hmm. And they've been unbelievably generous with their time and mostly their money. Okay, that's critical to have. But you also have to give them something and allow them to understand. Okay, you can give Charitable Gift America your contribution, and our biggest contributions from those types of donors come from private foundations or donor advised from grants that they make to us. But because we're a public charity, we're able to get those grants. That's where we get really big contributions. You need those for lots of reasons. However, for sustainability, which is the biggest issue of any NIL collective across the country, okay, it's sustainability. How are you going to maintain this? Because when you got 6 guys or women that are really rich supporting you, it only takes 2 or 3 of them to say, you know what, I'm out. And you got a big problem. So we like to think you have to have the masses involved, okay? The person that gives $100, $500, $1,000. We have one guy that I just love this person. I never met him, but he has a repeating charge on his charge card, a monthly charge of $5. I just think that's awesome.
Hey, it works.
You know what? If that's what you can do, he's doing it. I think that's awesome. But if you can get the masses involved and allow them to get benefits or whatever it might be, I've tried that for a couple of years at Michigan State, wildly unsuccessfully. But if you can engage the masses and get the $50, the $100, the $500 gifts and build that war chest up, then you go back to your, the really rich people, and then they don't have to give. Like right now, they feel like they have to give to maintain this. But now, if you have the masses and a big war chest there from everybody that's participating, then that person that can write a $2 million check might say, maybe not this year, but maybe next year. It gets them off the hook and gets them back to where it should be, where they're doing what they want to do instead of what they feel like they have to do.
Very, very critical. One thing that came up today, and this is, it wasn't planned, Tom, and I don't want to hijack you here, but there was a Twitter argument going on literally today. And, we told you, we wanted you to be on the show today, but there was a debate about the IRS memo. There is an IRS memo that is out there saying that nonprofits are not eligible to be, they're not legal as an NIL collective. You can't be a nonprofit and be an NIL. And there's a lot of people saying, that's where it gets heated in a lot of ways. I mean, even in Michigan State, it does get heated. So let's be clear. What do you say about that?
Well, I welcome that. Okay. When I started this in December of 21, I was listening to a sports talk show with these guys were from Austin, Texas, and they were going to start a nonprofit organization and pay University of Texas football players. Well, having been in nonprofit management, in fact, I have a doctorate in nonprofit management. my mind it raced immediately to compliance. And I'm like, you can't just create a nonprofit organization and write NIL contracts. There's no charitable purpose. Well, I knew we had a national organization and had been around for more than 10 years with hundreds of different types of funds. So we can have these funds that are for NIL because it's a very small part of our overall organization of philanthropy. And then we use the students and their platform to promote our life income plans. So if we were a car dealership, they would be promoting our cars or whatever. Well, we're a philanthropic organization, so these kids are supporting our philanthropic goals, which has really helped us make more grants. Now, it was 2 summers ago now, I actually introduced legislation in Lansing to amend the current laws in the state of Michigan. I wanted to protect student athletes and I wanted to protect donors. And so what we wrote was, if you're going to be a nonprofit organization in this NIL space, you need to have been in business for at least 5 years. That would eliminate these pop-up NIL nonprofit organizations, which is exactly what the IRS does not want to have. There was some disagreement on that, on what we wanted there locally there in East Lansing, and people pushed back on what we wanted to do to help donors and help the students, and so it got nixed in Lansing, which was unfortunate. But that was exactly what I was trying to accomplish with that amendment, is exactly what the IRS was doing. So we've been really transparent with the IRS, both on telephone calls and in writing, letting them know exactly what we're doing as a nonprofit organization in this NIL space, and they've given us no pushback at all.
So what I hear you saying is that you welcome the IRS. I mean, like, look, hey, the IRS, the biggest gangsters in the world. They can do anything, anywhere, to anybody like that lives, right? Like, I think they're more powerful than the CIA and FBI, all that, like the IRS now. So you're saying that what this memo is saying is about pop-ups. It's not about long-standing 501c3 organizations as yourself.
That's exactly right. And I do not know of another public charity that's been around for a long time that is in this NIL space. I'm the only one dumb enough to be. I mean, there's no logical reason to be in it. But we've turned, I believe, I hope anyway, mostly negative stories about NIL. Most of them are negative.
Yeah.
We like to think we've turned this into a real positive story with what we do with these students and what we do with our grant making. So yeah, I welcome the scrutiny because it just separates us from the rest of them anyway.
Yeah, Tom, it's crazy. Obviously, I got my start in fundraising, at Michigan State Spartan Fun, and I think there was not issues, but there was a struggle to really get former student athletes to give back. And I think there's, a huge testament to you on educating current student athletes through this setup, is that you have to train, people to have a heart of giving their financials. Like, yeah, everyone can give their time, but when you get to like asking to give your money, that's a hard pill to swallow. So if you're currently the age of the student athletes, 18 to 22, and then you're training them to always take a percentage of what you're earned to give back. I think that's a good exercise to be able to say, hey, when you do make a full salary and you do create your career, you always have to do something of a nonprofit or your choice, charity of choice, where I think student athletes now have been giving, 2 years back, 2 years in a row, that now when they're done, they can consistently keep doing this too. And I think that's huge from a standpoint, because I know when I would have asked a former student athlete, hey, you want to get back to your program, it's really like, well, I'm not going to do that, or I got to I have to do some couple more years of getting more investments or making more money. But as you're doing it through NIL strategic, it's like easy money, not easy money. Nothing's easy, but it's the heart of giving. I think that's where it comes from.
Well, you're right. You're right, Otis. And former athletes, it doesn't matter really what sport it is. They're almost the worst prospects out there. They feel they've already put in their time. They've already done it. The school owes me. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving them money. That's the mindset. But plus, it's usually younger people that you're talking to, and younger people in general aren't used to giving. And we're not, naive. We know that the hundreds of kids that we have under contract, they're not all going to keep being philanthropists their whole life. But you know what? What if 20% of them do, right? I mean, and we thought it was important too that it's a charity of their choice. We're not going to tell them what to do. We want them to think about it, all right? And we're not going to tell them, okay, on November 20th, you go over to this place for 2 hours and hand out turkeys. Because then they're just going there, doing it and leaving. They didn't learn a thing. They did it because they had to. But when the kids have to think about what has happened in their family or friends or what's important to them, and then they do research and find a charity, the stories we have gotten from these kids, or some of them are just absolutely amazing. And they've just sometimes literally have brought me to tears with some of the things, some of the reasons they've given. And I know one of your guests tonight has one of those stories. And so we're just delighted that we've created this ripple effect literally around the world. We heard about 18% of our kids are international students. Okay. And from what I understand, we're like the only place where you can, that can write contracts with international students. And that's really key for some sports in particular.
You're not joking. I've heard that, and I don't have a doctorate in charitable giving like you do from the University of Miami, and you have a bachelor's from Michigan State University. So we are absolutely honored to have you as a Spartan and a former baseball player here doing what you're doing for all these sports across Michigan State's landscape and beyond. But look, you just brought up a couple of athletes that we're going to have on this show. We want to talk to them. We want to talk about their charity. We definitely got to talk about what they're doing on the, I don't know what you want to call it, the field, the court.
The mat.
The mat. Yeah, they taking it to the mat,
Bars.
We got all those things. We're going to take it to the mat in a minute. But first, we got to listen to these messages, drop those pancakes and tickets from our friends over at IHOP, SeatGeek, and Trivaloni.
Everybody come for the fresh and fruity. Only at IHOP, it's Rudy Tooty. Mix and match like a little combo cutie. Happening now at the Big Extravagoody.
The Rudy Tooty Extravaganza starting at $7. Create your own combo with eggs and bacon. Only at IHOP.
Are you confused about whose interests your financial advisor really serves? Is your advisor making decisions that benefit you, or is he just chasing a fat commission for himself? Spartan fans, you deserve a commission-free advisor with no conflicts of interest, like Trivaloni Asset Management. Trivaloni Asset Management is a fully independent, fee-only registered investment advisor. The company is even owned by a Spartan, me, Antonio Trivaloni. Visit us at SpartansMoney.com. That's SpartansMoney.com. Make an appointment today. Go green!
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
without further ado, we have to welcome Baleigh Garcia and who's that? Gabi Stevens to this of Sparta MSU. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey.
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 Hey, listen. I mean, look, are we breaking up a little bit? I mean, that highlight right there for the Iowa game, that was like your first home meet of the season.
Yes.
It was incredible. That was incredible.
Yeah, it gave me chills just watching it.
Yeah, we gotta get Gabi. She'll get it back. We'll get it back. I think Baleigh, it's one of those things of the atmosphere of, being a former player. I was good friends with some of the gymnasts, and obviously one of your current coach, Nicole. And so just seeing how you all cheer for each other is one of the most. I feel like it's admirable. It's one of those opportunities where you see one of your teammates get the perfect 10 on the floor, and you almost look like you all are cheering way more than what the individual. And I think, where does that truly come from the gymnastics culture world of how you're cheering for each other and just rallying?
Well, I feel like sometimes it's like you cheer because you're told to cheer. It's almost like you're just the person's cheerleader. But for us, especially this team, Michigan State, we're cheering because we love them. We love that they're out there having fun, doing something that they love. So in a way, like I watched my teammate, like I watched Nikki do her floor routine, and I knew she stuck her full in, and I was like, there's no way she's probably going to get a 10. Perfect middle pass, perfect last pass. And then all I could feel in my heart was like, oh my gosh. So sometimes I feel like I feel more excited than the person that competed. But I don't know. I feel like it's just a really great family atmosphere that we have. Yeah,
I mean, Gabi, you were getting adjusted with the internet, which I'm glad you're back. I was asking Baleigh about just cheering for one another, and then at the end of that video, when Nikki hit the 10, I saw you not in tears, but you were very more excited for your teammate. And I said, where did that come from? And I think people don't realize a 10, and I have never been a gymnast, but a 10 is tough. And for you to get it, walk us through that, because people think 10s are easy, like it's a dunk contest.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, that's literally, it's one of the things that we're chasing all the time. Like, all of our work is building up. We're trying to go for the 10 always. So knowing that we have the potential to get it and then actually getting it is probably one of the most exciting things. We had another girl on our team, Sage Kellerman. She got a 10 earlier this year. Yeah. And literally I felt the tears right in my eyes. I was like, guys, this is literally the most amazing thing that could happen. You couldn't have done any better. When I compete for myself, I'm a little nervous, but I even think watching everyone else do their stuff, I'm just as nervous for them, if not more, because I can't even control anything. All I can do is watch. And no, it's so exciting, especially to see all that, because we watch them have their good days, bad days, anything in the gym. And so seeing it pay off is the best feeling ever.
When I see, and I hear it too, when the highlights of gymnastics and the meets and how close you are to each other when your fellow teammate is performing. I remember my old coach. I mean, we're old football guys, so we're always going to have these old football stories, right? And I remember a guy by Nick Saban, right? He said, he came to our meeting one time. He said, you guys ever seen geese fly? Like, geese fly? Yeah, coach. They fly in a triangular manner. And I mean, yeah. And they said that the peak geese, right, is taking on all the wind, right? And it's hard for that goose, to fly because it's taking on the wind. But all the geese behind that one goose, the lead goose, they're cheering. You hear them whack, whack, whack. I'm thinking that they're talking, they're communicating about strategy. Now he's like, they're just cheering. And that cheering gets them to go 67% further than the normal goose can go in their life. or they would die. But because they're getting cheered for, they go 67% further. And I think about that when I see, especially how loud and exciting like the gymnastics world is when people stick a landing, when people are getting there and you guys are cheering them on. It's part of the culture and all that. But it's amazing to see how awesome the outcome is, especially with Michigan State this year. When you look at Coach Rowe and what he's been able to do, can you, one of you ladies, talk about Coach Rowe and what he's meant to Michigan State gymnastics?
Yeah, I can go. I just think that he's brought a lot of stuff. I love it whenever people tell me that Mike is one of their favorite people to watch, like cheering at the meets, because he's so animated and like he kind of brings that energy into like all of our practices, kind of that type of vibe, and bringing that into all of us and making sure we remember that we're having fun. Like the cheering, it drowns out everything else. Sometimes I don't even hear what's going on in the background. I don't even know that everyone's cheering, but like I can feel it. It kind of is just the environment we're used to. And that's the type of thing that we've been building with this team and that Mike's been building with us. Yeah, I think that's probably like one of the biggest things is just the energy and the energy that he brings for us.
Oh man, that's
go ahead. Because like we talk about Coach Rowe. Coach Rowe has the most swag, I feel like, out of all the coaches, in my opinion. And you know, take me to the argue with me on that one. But we had him on last time, and Stray, you probably remember, he was just after y'all won the Big Ten championship. He was just chilling in his bed and doing the interview, like just.
That was great.
You remember that? Right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh gosh.
I can just imagine him. That's too funny.
That's hilarious.
Well, I told you all before backstage, you know, I would like to make this the Harriet Dean segment because Harriet is through and through probably your number one supporter, has always been in gymnastics. I remember I was a guest judge on one of your green and white meets where I had no clue how to judge anything. And I was just looking at like, hey, this is a 10. Everything's a 10. But, Harriet provided me some questions that it's like, this is the segment for Harriet just to get y'all comfortable and enjoy the interview. But, you know, one of the things to ask was what is your favorite event to compete in? Because, you know, you got other, you know, ones you do, but the one you really want to showcase and get that 10, what is your favorite event?
For me, I love competing beam, even though I feel like it's the most nerve-wracking because it's literally 4 inches of wood. But I feel like, I don't know, it just brings me a lot of love and happiness and passion and also striving for that 10. So we're going to get there someday. Gabi and I are both going to get there, but we're working on it every day.
Absolutely.
I would say my favorite event is probably vault. I like beam a lot too. It's like beam or vault's right up here and beam's really close behind. But I like vault because it's nice and quick, and also I'm like so powerful on it. Yeah, I've gotten a perfect score on vault before 2 times. So that's
a little shameless plug. Go ahead, a little shameless plug. 2 times.
2 times.
You got it 2 times.
Yes, so that is something that's so exciting for me. And then I'm also working on upgrading my vault for this year. So yeah, the vault that I do right now, it starts at a 9.95. But the vault that I'm upgrading to starts from a 10.0, so I can like get a 10 on this new vault.
So
So that's how it works.
Yeah. Like how many times people were like, you gotta fall a lot to perfect your routine. So how do you embrace that? Because like the struggle is real through to get to the perfection. Like talk about all of the failures just to get to that maximum peak of perfection.
I feel like the days that you struggle the most are what motivates you the most to get better. And I know for gymnastics, you are striving to be perfect for every single turn. So I feel like it's very hard to embrace the failure when like I know I can make a beam routine, or I know I can make a certain pass on floor or something. So for me to go and take a turn and then fall, it's like, well, why did I fall? I know I can make it. But then obviously, sometimes at a meet I could have something mess up, but then I go back to the days at practice where I was falling a lot, and I have to remember what helped me switch around the falling to making it perfect. So I feel like just remembering to take one thing at a time and knowing that the failure is really going to bring you the best ending that you want, I feel like, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense to me. I mean, Baleigh, look, let's stick with you for a second, and we're going to get to Gabi, because I mean, that's my daughter's name, Gabi. Baleigh Garcia. You're just a two-time WCGA Scholastic All-American Award recipient, as well as a two-time Big Ten Distinguished Scholar and two-time Academic All-Big Ten honoree. Okay? You are a senior. You major in kinesiology. That ain't PE, okay?
Right.
You do work with Charitable Gift America, and this is part of that collective. Tell us, with that collective, obviously they require a 5% give back. Who did you decide to give back to?
I decided to give back to a charity called Place of Hope, and it's really like a fostering sort of thing. When I was 6 or 7 years old, my parents looked into adopting, and we came across Place of Hope through some family members who worked with them, and we fell in love with an 8-month-old baby girl, and she is now my sister. We adopted her. She is now 14. She'll be 15 this year. So even though we adopted her, it's funny because a lot of people now, if I don't mention that she's adopted, which it doesn't like really come up in conversation because at some point I just forget she's basically family. I mean, I've known her whole life. They actually don't know that she's adopted because she looks a lot like my family and I. So it's funny when people find out and they're very shocked. But over the years, my family and I have volunteered with Place of Hope just to get Hannah, which is my sister, knowing that this is where we found her and fell in love with her, and just giving her the sense of background and community that she knows she had when she was there, even though she was a baby, toddler, infant. But yeah.
That's
awesome.
How do you get better than that? That's awesome. And you're from Boynton Beach,
Yes.
Florida.
Yes.
You're a senior right now. How are you dealing? How did you cope with the cope?
If you actually asked me that freshman year, Jennison, where we trained, was like locked down for COVID. So we would run in the field across. And I remember one morning it was like 20 degrees. And I didn't know how to dress for that. So I showed up in shorts and a t-shirt. And everyone was asking me how I was like dealing with that. And I was like, first of all, I don't know how to dress for anything under like 60 degrees, nor did I own anything that was for that weather. But now my closet, I'm pretty sure I could fill 3 closets with clothes. So now I'm set. I've learned how to dress for the cold. But it's really nice to walk out of Jennison when it's super hot and just walk out in like our tank top and spandex because it feels so nice outside, even when it's like 30.
It feels nice to cool you down.
It's like it's hot.
Cools you down faster. That's something. And you attended West Boca Raton Community High School. You did train at the American Twisters Gymnastics Club in Coconut Creek. There's a lot going on in Coconut Creek. You know what Coconut Creek was famous for that no one really knows? Because my teammate Nigeria Carter told me that Dave from Wendy's graduated from Coconut Creek High School.
Really?
Remember that? I don't know if people know that. I'm sure in the chat, people who are a little older than us people on this on the call right here will know that
commercials and Wendy's commercials.
You remember the Wendy's commercial? Dave. Yeah, Dave. Dave's from Coconut Creek High School, which is a big deal. So the guy who kind of invented Wendy's burgers, the Wendy's burger. You know that is. I digress. We move on. And we move on to your teammate, Gabi Stevens. Okay, so Gabi, talk to us a little bit. Gabi, you're from Illinois, right?
Yes.
All right. So your dad was a college football player.
Yes, he was. He's actually from Canada, so he did whatever type stuff.
Oh, choose missing
what
out.
Part?
Choose a Canadian.
What part? He's from Brampton.
I don't know where does that lie,
Toronto.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Toronto area.
Yeah.
Okay. Not over. He doesn't speak French.
No, he doesn't speak French.
All right,
yeah, I know. But my cousins speak French, so there's that. Yeah. Okay. But he did football at NIU, and I've done gymnastics since I was 3, 4. So that type of path, and we've always known that I could go to the college level. And my dad's kind of always encouraged me. Well, my parents, both of them, but my dad, he achieved that level, so he knew that I had what it took. And now I'm here at MSU, and it's just so amazing.
It is amazing. And when we talk about you, Gabi, we talked about the charity. We talk about Charitable Get to America. Tom, I think is Tom around? Is Tom around? If we talk about Tom Dieters from This is Sparta, the collective based out of, Charitable Get to America, where was your 5%? Where did you give your 5% back and why?
So I gave my 5% to an organization called Feed My Starving Children, which is basically just an organization where you can also do hands-on volunteering there. And I have a lot when I was growing up. I didn't realize that they're not a lot in Michigan, but there's a lot in Illinois, which is where I'm from. And you get to help package like these food packs. They call them manna packs, and they will ship them out to different countries that need them, and they help nourish them. They're designed specifically for children who are malnourished to help them get the type of nourishment that they need in their meals that will help them develop properly. And I just think it's so fun. I was hoping that I could actually go in and volunteer when I was home for winter break, but there was no time. We were only home for 6 days, I think it was. And it was around Christmas time, so they were closed a lot. But it's something that I've been involved with for a really long time. And no, I'm just so happy that I was able to donate with my donations. I was able to feed, I believe it was 3 children for a full year. So that's just exciting. That was something really cool to know. And actually the president or somebody through their company called me and just thanked me. And it was something that made me feel really good to do. So yeah, that's the organization that I decided to donate to this semester.
Man, that's outstanding. That's awesome. Cause I got 3 children you could feed for a year.
I mean, your oldest 2 is probably taking up a couple of them.
And they eat enough for 7. It's ridiculous. But that is awesome. I mean, because everything helps. And Otis, as you talked about earlier, getting used to giving back is a big thing, so that's a question for both of you ladies. Does what you've learned and what you're doing right now in the NIL space, that's something that Otis and we didn't have the opportunity to take advantage of. Has your opportunity to take advantage of this and give back, how has it impacted you in your mind for the future of how you may look at Charitable getting?
I feel like this has helped me show that if I have the opportunity or I'm given the opportunity to give back, I am giving other people the opportunity to change their lives. So like how Gabi was able to give back to her charity of choice, she changed the lives of those 3 children, at least for this year. And then who knows after this, what they'll go on to do. So I feel like in a way, it's very intrinsically rewarding, but also knowing that I'm able to change the lives of other people is also something that's very important.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's like kind of shows the position that I'm in. I'm able to get a lot of things. Like, obviously, you guys have said this before, and I talked about how my dad said it. Look, you guys didn't have an NIL or an NIL space, and it's something that people have wanted for a really long time. And so now I'm in a special, unique position where I can give back for something. People did sports for all these years, and they were never receiving money to give it back or have an opportunity. And it just gives me a chance to learn how to manage my money and my like self and see what I think is important and actually make an impact on that.
I mean, that's outstanding.
Absolutely.
Otis,
And I know we run long, but like it's an opportunity. Like I told you before, it's the human element of getting to know you beyond the uniform, beyond your sport. Really for me would be, you both are from out of state, and did you grow up as you were training knowing about Michigan State's gymnastics program? And I really want to know like your first interaction with Coach Rowe and what, if that's a crazy story or if it's I really want to know like what really got you when it comes to like, I'm going to Michigan State, because there's a lot of top gymnastics programs, and you ladies did come in where you were the foundation of getting this where it's at. But why Michigan State, and the story of like first time meeting Coach Rowe?
Okay, so my first time, I was at practice, and normally when we have like a college coach come, my coaches then would like put girls in a group that were of like the recruiting age. I think back then it was very young, like we were recruited in middle school or like early high school. Yeah. So I was probably in like 7th grade maybe. And I didn't have a green Leo. My Leo was like teal. That was like the closest thing I had to green. And he came, and my coaches made fun of me, and he was laughing at me, and he's like, I need to take a picture of this and send it to Nicole. And they laughed about it. And I was just like, okay, great. Like now they're not going to want me. I didn't wear a green Leo, whatever. So then after he left, I made my mom buy a green Leo just in case he came back. Ended up coming back to see whatever. And then a few years later, committed. Then I was at nationals. Don't know where it was, but I took the time to separate out all of the green M&Ms, put them in a bag, and give them to the 3 coaches. I walked around, found them with another teammate, and gave them bags of green M&Ms.
That's what I'm talking about.
Look, that's
you are a
smart.
She's smart through and through. She ain't playing games,
Let me think. For me, I don't know if I had any specific moments with him. I got recruited a little bit later, and I was so scared of the whole recruiting process. I was like, I'm just so shy. Like, I don't know, guys. But I remember I would always be looking like on the Michigan State Gymnastics social media, like after I was committed and stuff like that. And the coaches, Mike loves Halloween. So I will always get to see like the coaches' Halloween costumes. I don't even remember what they were, but just the most extravagant things you can possibly think of. And I was like, okay. But like, this guy's funny though. So we're good. Like, I don't know. I just remember seeing him act. I'm like, I haven't seen any other head coaches posting in these crazy outfits on social media. So looks like we're in for a fun 4 years.
It's crazy. Without like getting crazy and like, but we have to bring on a guy who can ask you questions that we don't know how to ask. And that's Tom Dieters, because he's giving you guys money through This Is Sparta, Charitable Gift America. There he is right there.
I'm back.
You're back. So, Tom.
Yep.
We got Gabi, and we also have Baleigh. We need to know, like, is there anything like that Spartan fans don't know about them right now that would be absolutely cool, and that they can know, and that they could be, I don't know, given more?
Well, I'll just tell you a couple of things about both of these two young ladies and that entire team.
Yeah.
Our first fall, which was fall 22, was the first time we wrote contracts. Okay. I met Mike, the coach, and we didn't have a whole lot of money, very little money. And so I had enough. We were going to write contracts with just 5 of the kids on the team. And I had no idea which 5 I could possibly pick, right? I had no idea which ones. And he asked me if we could give a little bit to the whole roster. And I hadn't thought about that before. And I said, well, let me think about it, but I want to make their contracts worthwhile. So I started calling back some people that had turned me down before. And I told them, hey, look, we want a contract with the entire women's gymnastics team at Michigan State. And within 2 weeks, I had enough money to do, I don't want to get into numbers, but to pay the entire roster instead of just a few, which made me really happy. But along the way, we hadn't ever written a contract yet. We just started, right? And I didn't know what to do. And so I contacted Baleigh. She was the very first athlete that we contracted with. And now we've written over 200 contracts now. Baleigh was patient number 1, I guess they call him. And then I moved on to the rest of the team. And you know, I didn't know, nobody knew where this stuff was going. I certainly didn't. And I had no idea that it was turn out like this, but I just sat here and listened to these 2 young ladies, and I can tell you that's why we do it. Okay. Their stories and what they're doing is why we do it. And when I got to know that team last year and started hearing the stories that you guys just heard for the first time, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is good stuff. I like doing this. And we've continued doing it mostly because of that gymnastics team. They were so good about everything. And I might be wrong about Gabi, but I think I'm right. And I know with several kids that we have under contract, they do have to give 5%. But we have several that have given 10, 20% because they wanted to. And if I remember correctly, I think Gabi was one of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. That gave a little bit more than you had to last year. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, that's what can happen with NIL. All right. You guys know I get questions every single day about this and that, and you know, $1 million players, and you know, who you're going to buy, and you know, these mercenaries that come in for 1 year, and that's no fun. That doesn't work. It's just like throwing money down the drain. But when you see a team like this doing all the right things, and Mike building a roster with a strategy behind it, and it's working. They're Big Ten champions, okay? Defending. And I have no doubt they're going to do it again this year, starting this Sunday at 4:00 on Big Ten Network against Michigan.
Yeah, against that school down the road.
Got to watch that.
That school down the road.
Yep. You got some other teams that have used this as a strategy, and they're doing it the right way, like men's tennis. That program has a chance to win the Big Ten this year, and they have never done that in my lifetime. Women's soccer, back-to-back Big Ten champions, okay? And the next one, you can watch it, and they're already doing well. But our hockey team, they have a strategy behind the NIL, and we're doing it. I'm not saying that we're the only ones that do it the right way. I'm not saying that. But when you hear these stories and the kids are buying into it, and the coaches are buying into it, and the team buys into it, it all fits together. Okay, it does, and it can work. And so this team in particular, with the stories you just heard, you know, that's what started us, and that's what keeps us going.
Love it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's spot on. And like Tom, you know how to come in and put the bow on everything, you know, because we have these wonderful young ladies here, Gabi and Baleigh, and you just came in and did that. And look, I know one thing. We have a Hall of Fame Michigan State running back, Todd Duckett. He's loving you. He's loving you. He's in the chat right now. He's like, hey, you know,
he's got fun with us. He's got a running back fun here.
Yes,
The touchdown club.
Talk about that. Talk about that, please.
He's probably finding out how hard it is to raise money.
It ain't easy.
No, it's hard. But yeah, he wanted to have a fund to attract and retain running backs on the football team. So I said, go ahead, we'll do it for you. And so he does have, it's called the Touchdown Club. That QR code you had up earlier probably will get you to that fund. And it's all the same thing. It's all, you know, under our 501c3 umbrella, tax deductible country. You know,
there it is right there.
Yep.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yep. So we let people designate their gift to wherever they want it to go. And if you want to give to a running back, you call the Duckets and they'll point you right to that QR code, and we'll get the next Duckett or Lorenzo White or Walker, his name. Yeah, he was pretty good too. We'll get those guys right in there.
Hey, listen, I think
I know I was going to add. I was like,
go ahead.
Real quick. I know we ran over, but to end it is Gabi and Baleigh to tell Spartan Nation of, hey, what to expect in the next home meet, and they need to get there to support. But tell them about the atmosphere, what they need to do to come support, not just on here, but physically get to Jenison, but talk about the atmosphere and then what they need to do to go ahead and support you all.
Yeah. I think gymnastics meets are like no other. I always tell people that they're so fun. I'm biased, obviously, but everyone who I know who goes, they're always like, this is the most, so amazing, so fun. And I really think it is. It's cool, even if you don't know what's going on. So I just think that the energy, especially like that we bring and against all these Big Ten teams, is so crazy. The whole time it's just cheering, music, dancing, and you can feed off of us so much, and we feed off of you guys with the home energy. We've only been home one time this year so far, but we'll be home back to back, and we're hosting Big Tens this year, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, I just really don't think there's any better place you can be besides Jenison when there's a gymnastics meet.
Exactly.
Good job. Put that step on it, Baleigh. Like, yeah. I like that. Yeah.
It's just something very electric that you don't want to miss out on, and who doesn't want to see some cool flips? So
nobody.
They show up.
Doesn't want to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. Yeah. Y'all put it on the line. I know that. I know it personally from experience being in the training room with my ankle and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, why gymnasts in here? Oh, y'all, this is serious. You know, gymnasts put it on the line, everybody. This is real. It's not like, like you guys think that WWE is like fake. Gymnasts are real. They do it. They put
wait a minute. You know, that is a career path for gymnasts. Be careful.
It sure is. It sure. I'm connecting the two.
Right. We got to end it on
shout out Leah Mitchell, former gymnast. Now
there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to get Leah Mitchell on the show.
Yeah. Go ahead and give her a call. Say, come back and put her on the show. But yeah, we got to end it with Harriet. Harriet's comment goes, if gymnastics were any harder, it will be called football.
Thanks. We appreciate that, but I don't know.
I respect it because there's no way I'm
they got to do a lot more than we do. Look, ladies, we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. Tom, I don't know how to thank you for what you're doing. We're going to continue to do this. This is not the only time that we're going to talk about what charitable gift America does. And this is Sparta, collective. I like to say this is Sparta MSU, but This is Sparta Collective is a different deal, you know, and you are providing a lot of things positively for Michigan State athletes across the board. And, you know, Otis, you know, I don't know how you feel, but I know how I feel. This is one of them thumbs up deals, okay? For me and you.
So thank you so much, y'all. I know you couldn't be anywhere else, but you spent your Thursday night with This is Spartan MSU. So appreciate you, Baleigh. Appreciate you, Gabi. Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you all.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
I go green. Otis, look, man, look. That I know we ran a little over. I understand all that stuff. And my dog is snoring in the background. But it doesn't matter. Nobody can hear that. I can. Otis, Tom Dieters, he's a saint.
Yeah, I think it's more so like when you do something different, it's always met with, you know, hesitancy, questions, and, you know, I think it was an opportunity to really dive in. I think once we, you know, do some, you know, more interviews of highlighting NIL, highlighting student athletes, which, you know, we have a lot of student athletes who are doing great work. And their name, this was the true essence of NIL. You know, we always talk about this. It's the current student athletes capitalizing on their name, image, and likeness. Not pay for play, which I know it's a different beast in different sports and different conferences and et cetera. But this was the true essence of it. It was to be able to do what they just talked about. Is I do wish, you know, I look back and I wish I was able to, you know, one, make money, also give back to my community in Flint, and whatever I was into. Like, I was very heavily involved in Athletes in Action. I would have did that, right? And I think that's that's the essence of this. Is not just making the money. This is about making money, being able to give back. And I dig it. I know it's always different. It's different, but I dig it to be able to equip these student athletes to use their platform for the greater good. And so I enjoyed that. I wish we could have them on more to talk, you know, questions, because, you know, they're encouraging the younger generation. You know, I was talking inside my family, like, you know, the Gabis and Simones of the world and how it's influenced their generation to, you know, be where they are now. And then these two ladies that we have on today, they're inspiring the younger generation of Spartans, future Spartans, through and through, to be gymnasts. So my daughter, obviously, when you have daughters, they're like, that's all they do is flip, jump, all around. And I just went to gymnastics before our show today. Like, not gymnastics, it's actually ninja class, because we need to get the energy out. But she's up there being a ninja warrior, but she's also doing flips. And so, you know, we'll be at the gymnastics meet supporting, and really it's time to be spent with my daughters, which is great. So it was a good show. Good job, Stray.
Can't hate on that. You know, appreciate you, Otis. Look, Patrick, look, you said it this Sunday, let's flood the place with green. I like that. Harriet said, you know, I'll be there, Patrick. So look, we're all going. We're coming. If I can get to Jennison, I'm coming to. You know, Otis, like, this is a big deal. I enjoyed tonight's show. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Jehuu, we don't know where the hell he is, but we will get with him on Tuesday.
I bet he's resting, having a good time, chilling on a Thursday night.
You know what? Jehuu is chilling right now. He is. You're right. He's not doing anything spectacular, but look, it was a great show. Thanks to Tom Dieters. Thanks to Baleigh for coming on the show, Baleigh Garcia, and obviously Gabi Stevens. But for Otis Wiley, Jason Strayhorn, this is who I am. This is Sparta MSU. Everybody, have a good night. God bless you. Go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU is a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Tony LaBarbera, Tony Gastella, and process-driven consulting. Additional support is provided by Brendan Duravage. On-location technical support provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our host Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest This is Sparta news, please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.